I spend a lot of time on the internet, you know, in my job and in my personal life, and you know, I encounter a wide range of how accessible those systems are. There are some systems that I basically can't use at all.
If information is relevant to me, I'm a New Zealand citizen, I'm living here, I should be able to expect, at bare minimum, that there would be captions to videos.
Almost a quarter of New Zealanders self-identify as disabled. They have one or more long-term visual, hearing, mobility or learning impairments.
New Zealanders with disabilities are our whānau, they're our kaimahi and they're our customers. So we provide, as the New Zealand Government, information and services to New Zealanders, and they have an entitlement to that information and services as well.
We know that over half of New Zealanders over 65 are disabled, so it's critical that we make sure that our content that's delivered through our online channels is easily accessible, and that we're not excluding those communities or those parts of the New Zealand community.
Disabled people often use special hardware and software called assistive technologies that help them access and interact with web content. Sometimes disabled people need content to be in a certain format, such as captions on a video or sign language translation.
And I thought with the COVID situation, when they brought the interpreters on, and they were talking about tonight we're going to be locking down the country, you know, things are going to be closing, I remember thinking, okay, right, I need to go and get some food. You know, I quickly dashed out, went to the supermarket, made sure I had enough food. If I hadn't had an interpreter on screen at that time, and I had to read it in the newspaper the next day, or watch the 6 o'clock news the next day to finally have access to know that everything's shut, and I would have then gone to the supermarket and the shelves would have been empty by then.
The New Zealand Government Web Accessibility Standard requires that public service departments make their websites accessible. This means that each web page needs to meet the internationally recognised Web Content Accessibility Guidelines from the W3C.
So it would be important, I think, for agencies to ensure that as you're building out your digital service delivery and your online service delivery, to really start from the get-go to include those New Zealanders with disabilities in that co-creation process.
It's really important that leaders and everyone involved in this work takes a sense of responsibility and obligation to make sure that we do hit those standards of accessibility so that all New Zealanders, including those with disabilities, can access information and services.
I don't think everything's ever going to be perfect. I think it's always going to take constant effort to make things accessible. In the same way it takes constant effort to make information secure and to respect privacy regulations. It takes constant effort, constant expertise. I don't think there's going to be a lack of work anytime soon.